I finally woke up on Mars, but I felt a terrible pain. I checked and found an antenna impaled in my body. I had to endure the pain and drag my weakened body slowly toward the space base. When I finally reached the shelter, I quickly took off my spacesuit. I looked at the wound, gathered my courage, and quickly pulled the antenna out. The pain was excruciating. There was no one else to help me, because I had missed the last flight. I was the only human left on Mars. I cleaned the wound by myself and used staples to close it. It finally made me feel a little more comfortable. As long as I'm alive, there's hope. I collected all the food and found there was only enough to last me for a year. I had to find a solution. While I was flushing the toilet, I was suddenly inspired. I collected all the waste we had saved. I then emptied the lab, covering the entire area with plastic film. Next, I dug up Martian soil and spread it evenly on the lab floor. Then it was time for the fermented waste. Although it was disgusting, it was the best fertilizer. I then took fresh potatoes, cut them up, added fertilizer to the soil, and covered the potatoes with more soil. Finally, I watered them with the most precious liquid I had, but this was far from enough. I had to build an experimental device, collecting fuel from the rocket launchers, and having to take out a wooden crucifix and painstakingly shaving it into tiny pieces. Only with these wood shavings could I create a fire source to ignite the fuel. Through the combustion reaction, a single drop of water appeared. I was lucky to still be alive, so I quickly put on a protective suit and continued the experiment. Soon, the surrounding plastic film was covered with water droplets. The water problem was successfully solved, and all that was left to do was wait. After 20 days, I touched the first plant on Mars. 2 months later, my potato harvest was a huge success. With plenty of food, I planned to find an abandoned rover. Although the distance was very far, I decided to give it a try. The journey went smoothly during the day, but at night, the huge temperature difference made it impossible for me to sleep. Fortunately, Mars is rich in minerals. I dug up a pile and put them in the car. They could absorb heat during the day and release it at night, so I no longer had to worry about the cold. I finally reached my destination, but all I saw was a barren desert with yellow sand covering everything. I didn't give up and kept checking. I even stepped on something. I quickly dug it up. Luckily, it was a solar panel. It was a sign from God. I kept digging under the sun and found a whole, intact probe. More importantly, its components were still functional. I didn't hesitate to sacrifice the rover's remaining energy to activate the probe. I carefully adjusted the signal receiver and prayed that Earth would receive my message.